Welcome to Charter California Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance. We are joined today by Thomas Wong. He is a director with the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District, an elected board member of that district. Boy, you must be incredibly busy, sir. As you know, the governor recently issued an order, mandatory reductions, 25% based on 2013 levels. What's happening in your communities?
Well, it's 25% across, not across the board. Different communities will be hit different.
Right, that's interesting you say that.
So
right.
The state board is looking at different communities, what their water use historically has been, and going to figure out how to cut back in a more equitable way so that communities that have the ability to cut back more are going to be called to do so.
And it's interesting you mentioned that because, look, you think about more affluent communities, and one would think it should be easier for them to cut back. But look, they bought homes with large lawns. It's just kind of what happened.
Yeah.
And so they have more toilets, they have more showers, and it seems complicated to me.
Well, I mean, they also have more lawn. Usually, if you buy a larger lot, you buy larger homes, you'll have larger landscaping needs to take care of. And that's actually probably the largest and easiest way to save on water use is to cut back on how much they use on their lawns. You look at not as affluent communities, largely more rental units, more apartments, more condos, less large lots with large green yards. And so the state board is figuring out right now, they've issued a draft framework and are looking for public comment. They haven't come out with the rules yet, which they'll do over the next few weeks, but they're figuring out how to best put out the 25% cut back for the state.
So your communities, is it a mix of economic demographics, or is it?
No, it is a mix, and even within some of our cities, there's a mix. There's areas that are much more dense, and then areas that have larger states. Sierra Madre, which we cover, has larger. They're in the foothills. They also have fire danger they have to be prepared for. And mudslides. So there are communities that are going to have to deal with this in their own way. And the way it looks like the state board is going to move forward with its regulations is they're going to set the benchmark and set the cutback goal, but each community is going to have to figure out how to do that on their own.
So when you say each community, does that mean each water district, or is it each city? How does that work?
It depends. Some cities have their own water utility. Our cities do, so it'll be by city essentially. But some cities are served by private water companies where the cities don't control the water source directly. So it'll be the whatever the retailers, whoever that sells the water, that will be required to.
So in your cities, what will happen? Will the board, the water district, be involved in setting those goals?
We'll be assisting our cities, and we've been reaching out to our cities on how to do it. Ultimately, the state board is going to deal with the retail agencies, so the city water utilities, private water companies that sell directly to customers. They're the ones that are going to have most of the weight of the regulations on them. They're the ones that are going to have to cut back and make sure to enforce the new regulations. Wholesale agencies like ours and Metropolitan Water District, Southern California, which is the big one for the LA area, are going to be difficult. Because they don't sell directly to anyone, they don't control anyone's tap necessarily, but they're a source of water for a lot of these retail agencies, and so they'll be setting, including us, we're looking at ways that we can encourage our retailers to cut back on their use and what we can do to help them by rebate programs.
And let's talk about rebate programs. I know, for example, MWD in this region has just set out, I think, another $100 million worth of rebate programs. I mean, there's a lot out there, but you know, I'm just one guy, and it seems a little complicated, and I'm not really sure how to access it. What's the role of water districts, of cities, of various agencies to get the word out? How can one best spread the good news about these rebate programs?
Well, the easiest way to find out more about them is to visit whenever you get your water bill, you should have contact information on there. Call that number, find out what rebate programs are available. Different agencies, different retailers will have different programs. So if you want to visit online, the largest one obviously would be the Metropolitan Water District of Southern California. But the easiest way is just go to whoever you get your water bill from, look up the number, call the number, look up the website, and see what rebate programs are available.
So let me ask you, in your communities in the San Gabriel Valley, I'm sure you go to cocktail parties and you go to the movies. Are people aware of this? I mean, is it on top of mind?
I think the last few years have helped bring it a little bit more to the forefront of people's minds as they're thinking about this as an issue. But I think just in the last month or so, with the governor kind of standing out there with no snowpack, announcing mandatory restrictions, increased media attention to this. I mean, every day there's multiple articles on every outlet about the drought and how it's impacting California and what's coming next and how it's going to change our lives.
So when I'm out and about and I'm talking to folks, they know I work as a newscaster and they think I know what I'm talking about. We won't tell anyone that I don't, but be that as it may, what I do hear is, I'm willing to play my part. But they keep hearing that ag uses 80% of the water in our state. And the governor's asking us to cut 25%, and they've seen that, 25% of 20% is only 5%. So even if we hit our goals, we've only decreased our water 5%, and ag's not doing anything.
Yeah, it's fact that agriculture uses a majority of the water. Some say 80% of the state's water that's being used is used by agriculture. But it's not true that they haven't had to cut back. They have. That 80% is actually 80% of a lot less water in total. Not to say that ag can't do more to be more water efficient, to use more water more effectively, and to find ways to use less water to grow our crops. But at the end of the day, it's us who are buying groceries, meats that use a lot of water here in California. If we like to eat, then we want to support our agriculture industry here.
At the same time, it seems like every week or so we kind of have the crop du jour to punish, to criticize. And lately it's been almonds. Almonds are considered to be very thirsty. I saw on Twitter that it takes 1 gallon of water to grow 1 almond. And so there has been a discussion about whether the state, either through mandate or otherwise, should really start considering what crops should be grown in our midst.
Yeah, I think we have to be very careful about where we go with this and how far we go. I think in the midst of a crisis situation, it's very easy to start pointing fingers at certain people and bad players. But we really have to, we are in this all together. We have to be in this together. Everyone has to take action to cut back on their water use to get us through this drought. And there's responsibility on everyone's part. So we have to avoid pointing fingers and avoid pointing, taking action.
What I also hear when people ask me questions and they say, well, wait a second, didn't we pass a bond in November? And so why isn't that bond helping us? What's the answer?
The bond, some of that money is helping us now. Some communities in the Central Valley actually have run out of water, especially ones that aren't very well populated, not connected to other areas. They're suffering. Some of that money is there for their emergency use. But a lot of this money, in terms of building infrastructure, building recycled water projects, building desalination, it takes years. Even storage takes years to plan and to build and to operate.
But are we getting going? I mean, we got to get going, sir.
Yeah, but most of that money is it probably won't be in place for this drought. It'll be here for the next drought, which is the reality. We're living in a very dry area.
Is your water district, for example, seeking to access some of those funds? Is the grant process already underway?
Yeah, so the different agencies that are going to manage some of that money that's coming out for the bond, and also previous bonds, they're determining how they're going to distribute that money, what the process is going to be. Over the next year or two, we'll probably see some of that money start to trickle out.
So are we in a better place now than we were a few weeks ago in terms of awareness? Are we doing what we need to do to get through this?
I think so. I think we're getting there slowly. There's only so much we can do in the immediate short term, other than asking people to cut back on their water use, which is what we're doing. Other than that, no one can make it rain.
I'll do a rain dance if I have to. His name is Thomas Wong. He is a director with the San Gabriel Valley Municipal Water District. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Charter California Edition.